What's one thing that you want your life to be about? Some people call it their calling, some people call it their destiny. If you take a look at your life, ask yourself, what's one thing that I couldn't live without doing? Like if you won the lottery and you didn't have to work anymore, what's something that you would still be doing? And it's totally okay to struggle with this question. A lot of people do. It can take years, maybe even decades to figure out that thing that you're so passionate about. Once you decide what that thing is that you want your life to be about, you've got to commit to it and you've got to let that take root all the way through, which means giving yourself time for real learning. You should be spending as much time as possible pushing yourself and developing your craft. And remember, it's not about what you were born with or where you start off in life. It doesn't matter if you live in a concrete jungle. It doesn't matter if you come from a single parent home. It doesn't matter if you're a man. It doesn't matter if you're a woman. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. All that matters is what you build. It's what you give yourself an opportunity to look back on in your life and say, I created that, I did that. And right now while you're young and your journey's just beginning, don't make your greatness about money. Don't make your greatness about success. Make your greatness about what makes you happy, what you're passionate about, what interests you. And that's why I love this question. If you won the lottery, what would you spend the rest of your life doing? Not what would you spend your money on? I don't care what you do with your money. My question is, what do you want to spend the rest of your life doing? If you love to draw, would you still draw? If you love to skate, would you still skate? If you loved being a great friend, would you be a great friend? If you love volunteering, would you still spend your time volunteering? You see, I think the answer to the if I won the lottery, what would I do question, the reason I love it so much has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with where would I spend my time? Where would I invest my passion? I would offer you this thought. What if you chased your passion, not paper? There are so many ways to take the thing that you're passionate about and turn that into a career. But the way that you get there, it's not quick. You've got to value the process and you have to fall in love with learning. It's almost like you have to fall in love with practice. Some of you guys, you're not going to get a paycheck to do what you're passionate about for a long time. And so that means at first, when you're just starting, you've got to take that mediocre job. You've got to go flip burgers in your local fast food restaurant. And not because you're passionate about that, but you need to learn and take those skills with you on your journey. That's what falling in love with practice means. It means doing things that maybe you don't love because they're gonna pay off down the road when you're in the middle of doing something that you really do care about. Robert Greene calls this resistance practice. First, resist the temptation to take it easy on yourself and don't make excuses. You have to see your work through other people's eyes. You've got to recognize your weaknesses. You've got to become self-aware at what you need to get better at. And second, resist the lure of easing up on your focus. You've got to train yourself to concentrate. You've got to train yourself to practice. Maybe you have to get creative. Maybe you have to compete against yourself or make it into a game. You have to hold yourself to a standard higher than the standard that others set for you. And third, you have to resist the urge to quit after you fail. There's two kinds of failure. The first failure is failing because you never tried. It's being too scared or too afraid of what others might think or because you might not do it right the first time. The second kind of failure happens after you try. You put yourself out there, maybe you don't do it right the first time, and you fail. You see, that second failure, that comes from a place of boldness. That comes from a place of creativity. That comes from a place of passion. And the hit that your pride took when you failed in the second moment will be far overshadowed by the lessons that you learned along the way. That's where the process is. That's what it means to fall in love with learning, fall in love with practice. Because honestly, success can be scary. It can be dangerous because if you start to think that things come easy and if you don't fail every once in a while, the minute you really fail and something huge happens, it's like you're not prepared. You don't know how to deal with it. When you're learning how to grow into your greatness, there's no shortcut. There's no bypass. There's no quick fix. That journey, growing into your greatness, it's going to be filled with tons and tons of failure. There's this old Chinese proverb that I love. It talks about a man wanting to chop down a tree. And it says that he approaches this tree and he takes one swing with his axe and he hits it once, and then he hits it twice, and then he hits it again, and he hits it over and over and over and over, and eventually this tree, it falls down. You can't swing an axe once and expect a tree to fall.
Nope, I'm not doing it again.
You gotta keep at it.
No.
And you can't question yourself if that tree doesn't fall after 2 or 3 swings. You've got to fall in love with the work. You've got to fall in love with the practice. If you can do that, I promise you, that's how you'll grow into your greatness.